Bosher. My trusty sidekick, Sid Charisse, has officially announced that she has had a beautiful little healthy baby girl. That is where she's been. She wasn't really abducted by aliens. Um, she was just pregnant, which might be a similar experience, but I'm not sure. Uh, I'm excited today to speak with one of my coaches, Chris. She has been on my team for quite some time now, and I just want to say welcome and hand you the mic so we can start talking. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm excited to be here.
What I'm curious. Why the hell do you want to work here? Why do you work at DTH?
Because I love the chaos.
You love the chaos.
I love the
Tell
chaos.
tell the listeners what it's like to work here. I just think people are always wondering what's going on in the back end.
I think working here is like having your brain cracked open once a week, at least. In the best way possible, though.
Exactly. So what does that mean to you with the brain being cracked open?
I think so many people think of coaching as just talking about like, we're hourly, so go hourly, or like, here's how to make more
Right.
profit. But working with DTH goes so much more beyond that and into like, well, we can't change you to hourly because something else is going on and we need to handle that first. Like,
Right. I think people are like they get caught up in our marketing, right?
yeah,
We're marketing these really big heavy things to get your attention, but when you work with a coach, it's actually a very soft experience, unless you know until you get your butt kicked a little bit. But what was
right.
your coaching experience like when you first started?
Well, when I first started was with Sid.
Oh, that's right. I always thought you were with. Well, you
No,
moved.
I was with Joy. I was with
You were
Joy for
with Joy.
years.
You were with
That's
Joy.
my
Yes, yes,
girl.
yes, yes.
But I originally was with Sid. And she very lovingly was like, "Girl, what are you doing right now with your life? Like, you need to get out of where you are. You need to do something different." But I needed to hear that.
Right. Exactly. Someone needed to say it.
Right. It needed to be said.
And you knew it.
I knew it so deeply in my entire entity, but I wasn't willing to admit it to myself.
Right. Now, now that I think if people don't know your story, quick side note, you had your own suite. No?
I had my own suite.
Yeah, you had your
I
own
did.
suite. And you wanted to grow. Did you know you wanted to open a salon or was that a
Yes,
GTH?
the
Oh,
goal
you
was
did know.
always to open the salon. But when I was getting out of the salon I was originally in, I wasn't in the mindset, the financial place, all these things to do a larger salon.
Yeah.
So I went into a suite and I built it into a micro suite. And then I
Right.
was able to profit enough from there to grow into the space I'm in now. It was my
Did
stepping
you
stone.
so for people that don't know what a micro suite is, tell them what that looks
So
like.
I hired stylists to work in my suite with me.
Right.
It was a one chair suite. I was only there 3 days a week. And so someone else was there on my off days bringing in passive cash. Like,
Amazing.
yeah,
And growing their career.
and absolutely growing their career.
Is that person still with you now?
She's still with me now.
Oh
She
my
just had her
god.
own baby. I hired her when
Wow.
I was stupid pregnant. Her first day was like
Stupid
a
pregnant.
week later. I was like, by the way, I'm getting induced. Here's the keys. You got to run this on your own, girl. Um,
That's amazing though.
and now she just had her own baby. She's been with me 3.5 years now.
That's a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a long time. But I think, when they own a suite, I think their first thought is, well, I can't have another person in here. I only have
right.
one chair, right? But the nice thing about suites, and I'm not a lawyer, so please, anyone listening, do not quote me, but really what they usually a suite will try to get you to have the other person pay rent as well. But the goal here is to make them a W-2 employee.
Yes.
That's
So in
the
New Jersey, booth rental is still in a gray area right now. It's been illegal for a lot of years.
Mhm.
So I wasn't allowed to have anything other than a W 2 employee working in my space.
Right.
And I needed to show my landlord proof of a W 2 document before she was allowed to work with me.
What's interesting is that I don't think people know that like you can do that. Like
Yeah.
you like they're not a renter when they're a W-2, and when they're W-2, they're part of your business. They're not
Right.
they're not paying rent. Because sometimes the landlords will be like, well, there's another person here, and I need to make money for that. But
Right.
they're I don't take this out of context. They're not an extra person. They're an employee.
Yes.
And I think that's what people have to understand when they're like, well, how do you do that in a suite? It's all the legal jargon of W-2,
Yes. I
right? That's
think
what.
people get so hung up on that and they think, well, especially again, I'm in New Jersey. And so with booth rental being illegal, most of people's worry was like, well, I can't legally do that. I can't even have someone renting for me. And I'm like, but they're not.
It's so funny how much the government puts restrictions on hairdressers. Like what? Like we're out here.
Why?
What?
What are we doing? Meanwhile, you have like estheticians injecting Botox illegally into people's faces, but we can't cut hair.
There is so much red tape around the hair world that is so ridiculous. I, you know, I could go off on a whole tangent, but it's like at the end of the day, we are all just. It's okay. We
We're
can